Yuxing Sun, and we're going to be speaking with you today about the ServiceWise and CustomerWise 9.0 release. Before we get underway, there's a few housekeeping items that I want to cover. Then we'll be talking about some of the ServiceWise 9.0 highlights. Yuxing will be presenting a couple different demos of ServiceWise. And then we'll talk briefly about what's coming up in the next 2 releases later this year. And then finally, we'll have a Q&A session at the end. In terms of the housekeeping items, we will be recording this webinar, and it will be available on our website sometime in the next week. Also, if you would like to ask any questions during the webinar, you can use the GoToMeeting, or GoToWebinar, I should say, question interface that's in the right-hand side of your screen. You can ask any questions, and we'll be answering them at the end of the webinar. All right. For ServiceWise 9.0, there's a few major highlights that we're going to be covering today. First is our web client focus. Next, we'll be talking a little bit about some major UI and usability improvements that are included in the 9.0 release. We'll also be talking about KnowledgeWise and KnowledgeWise Web, which is a whole new web interface for both CustomerWise and ServiceWise. And we'll also be showing you AssetWise Web, which is a complete revamp of our AssetWise solution. In terms of the web client focus, we are, as many of you know, we're moving away from the Windows client for ServiceWise and CustomerWise and AssetWise. And part of that is replacing functionality with new web clients that we'll be talking about. The other piece of that is actually moving functionality that is currently in the Windows client into the web client. So we have moved a number of items from the Windows client to the web client, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. And we were also making major UI and usability improvements to the web clients so that anything that was present in the Windows client is also going to be covered in the web. Along with that effort, we have a brand new interface for Project Plan. So there's now a web version of Project Plan. We have AssetWise Web, which we'll be seeing a demo of in a moment. And KnowledgeWise is also a web application that Yuxing will be demoing also. In terms of moving the functionality from the Windows client to the web client, things like incident templates, bulk import and export have all been moved either to the web client or the Windows admin client. We're still utilizing the Windows-based admin client. For a full list of all of the functionality that's in 9.0, you can go to help.techexcel.com, click on the ITSM or CRM tab, and click on the What's New link to see a full release note that has all of those functionalities. In terms of the UI improvement, once we're taking a look at the demo, there's noticeable improvements just in the way that the UI actually looks, along with a number of enhancements related to making items require less clicks, look generally cleaner, and be more usable. The new Knowledge View is actually a whole new application that has been added so that when you click on the Knowledge tab from ServiceWise, you'll actually be looking at a whole new interface that has a number of different new features and functionalities included in it. Specifically, it has the ability to define wikis. So you have a wiki view of any items that you want to see. It allows you to have a definable UI for knowledge items. It has enhanced item and folder privilege control so that you have even more flexibility in terms of controlling who sees which knowledge items and who can edit them. And finally, it also has the ability to configure a workflow so that if you want to utilize a workflow for the creation of items that are in the knowledge view or the approval of them, you can do that also. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Yuxing, and Yuxing is going to provide you with a brief demo of the new KnowledgeWise functionality. Hello, Yuxing, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
And hi, everyone. This is Yuxing Sun, product manager of CustomerWise and ServiceWise product lines. And Jason just mentioned that we have been doing some major GUI improvements and usability improvements. And this is a team portal, so you can take a look. The color are well matched. So we have done a lot of changes to the toolbars and the color scheme of the detail list views. So this demo, I will show you the new knowledge view for ServiceWise and CustomerWise. So this we use the we basically integrate the Dev Suite KnowledgeWise with current ServiceWise and CustomerWise. So we have brand new layouts. On the left is a tree of folders that you can assign different privilege controls. For example, this public folder, you can have different access control for your team member. But in this case, all the team members have public access. So here, so for account type 1, it's read-only, and different capabilities for different account types. We also have the capability to define customer access control. So you can either define all customer can read, or all logged in the customer can read. You can also define access for different types of customers or employees for them to be able to either read or no access. So I will create a new item here to show you some of the features of this. Let me create a new knowledge item, and let's say KnowledgeWise Demo. Okay. So it's pretty simple, and you can edit the content of this knowledge item later. For example, I have a new item here. Let me add it. One very useful feature I want to show you here is called Smart Paste. So you can definitely type something. For example, type something here. It's a HTML editor, so you can basically insert all types of images or different colored fonts, or you can change the font size, all those kind of things. But I will show you this Smart Paste. So there's a little icon here. When I click, it basically pastes everything in the clipboard onto this section. So let me go to maybe this. Let me see here. Okay, so for example, I have a website. This is a page introducing some of the modules in ServiceWise. So let me paste maybe this section together with the image. And let me click paste. So this section will be in here with the image. This image will be actually uploaded to our own image base. So it does not depend on any external image source. Let me click OK. Okay. So it is saved here. And Jason mentioned you have a wiki view. So basically, it gives you a HTML view of everything. Let me see. I forgot to click the Save button here. Okay. So it should give you everything. Okay. So this is basically pasted as the content of this knowledge item. One more thing I want to show you is this version tab, which I feel very useful in a lot of cases. So basically what I did was for the version 1, I created this item and assigned some of the properties of this knowledge item. Then I pasted a new portion of content into the description section, so it records 2 versions. if I do some other editing, it will have another version. I won't do here, but you basically have the capability to go back, to roll back to each version that you may want to roll back to. So this is a very nice feature to have. One last thing I want to mention here is you have basically a very similar layouts in your user portal. It's basically a tree on the left, list on the top frame, and the detail in the bottom frame. Then your end user, your customer contacts or employee can see all the knowledge items according to their access control defined. So this is a quick demo of KnowledgeWise. So I will change the presenter back to Jason, and he will continue his PowerPoint. Okay.
Thanks, Yuxing. We'll be hearing from Yuxing again in just a few minutes to take a look at our asset management tool. But before we do move into that, I want to cover some of the major items that are being addressed in AssetWise, in the overhaul of AssetWise with the web client also. AssestWise Web, as we've said a few times, is a web client. In addition, we also have included some additional discovery options, one of which is OCS, which I'll mention in just a second. We also have the ability to use remote control and chat, and also a logical relationship map. Specifically, AssetWise Web is a whole new interface for AssetWise. So previously, a lot of the functionality that was only included in the Windows-based, all of it has been mapped over, including a lot of additional functionality that Yuxing is going to be showing you in a minute. There's also a dashboard that's included in AssetWise Web so that you can see asset reports. And we've also added an integration with OCS, which is an open source discovery tool, which is a nice option because there is no node fees that are associated with OCS. So it's a great way to be able to see what software, well, for one, what's on your network, and then also what software and hardware each of the devices that are linked has. Additionally, Yuxing will be showing you both remote control functionality as it relates to VNC Viewer that you might have here, and also the logical relationship map. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Yuxing, and Yuxing is going to show you AssetWise Web. So once again, Yuxing.
Okay, thank you, Jason. And so let me enlarge the screen right now. So you're actually looking at the new AssetWise Web version. If you are currently using our AssetWise Windows client, you are probably quite familiar with our AssetWise in terms of how to adding new assets and how to make transactions and how to manage the life cycle of all the IT assets. And this is actually the main view of all your inventory. And on the left, it's a asset catalog. This is fully configurable in admin. So basically, you want to configure all the asset templates for entire asset inventory for your company. And before I dive into some details, I would like to say that some of you might use some kind of asset discovery tool internally for you to manage all the connected devices. And we also provide an optional module called Asset Link to help you to import all those automatically discovered assets into AssetWise. And in this particular case, this project actually linked with a FrontRange Discovery tool. So basically, whatever discovered there will be imported into AssetWise. So let me take a look, maybe one particular example here. So let me do a quick search. So I want to take a look at this computer called Finance 2. So you can see that in the lower frame here, in the lower part of this screen, a lot of information are actually populated here for this particular computer. You can see the IP address and MAC address, type of devices, BIOS brand, as well as some other information. Hopefully we have some. Okay. Then this particular machine was actually discovered by FrontRange Discovery a while ago, and using AssetLink module, this piece of hardware was imported into AssetWise. One thing I might want to add here is any updates. For example, you have increased the memory from a 2 gig to a 4 gig, and that change can be synchronized into AssetWise using AssetLink module. And we also provide some very convenient way for you to take a look at some of the linked incidents. And these incidents or tickets were submitted in our ServiceWise product. And from AssetWise, you can have a quick look of all the submitted open tickets here. So it will give you a tracking history of that particular ticket. One more thing is here is installed software. So in this case, FrontRange Discovery also has the capability of discovering software. So AssetWise AssetLink module not only is able to synchronize or import your hardware information, it also has the capability of importing software information. So in this case, a lot of software actually installed on this computer. For example, I found that Microsoft Word version 11 is also installed here, and we have the information of installed key and the date installed and the date actually lastly used by the user on this computer. Next thing I want to show you is what Jason talked about, logical relationship map. So for this case, I will show you one particular example. Here. Do I have anything here? Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to kill the search. Okay. Okay, so this one particular example is actually a rack. So before the demo, I created I created this logical relationship map for quite a while now. So what behind it is actually, this is not a network topology map. It's a logical relationship map. So as an IT manager or IT staff, you probably want to put all the critical IT infrastructure on this map, because on this map you can create, for example, this PowerEdge 4229 rack has a downstream dependency to this database server DB01. That means if the power supply of this rack space is down, then this database server will be affected. So it has a downstream dependency on this database server. And we also have different type of, for example, this switch, this HP switch has an upstream dependency to this power edge. So that means if this switch is down, you basically lose all your internet connections. There are also other type of relationships. For example, this one doesn't have any arrows here. So it means by the labels here, we know that this is only a terminal for this rack space maybe. So there is no relationship. If this piece of terminal or computer is down, there is no effect on this rack space. So we basically gives you a new capability to create multiple relationships among all your IT assets. This is important because you can create this assets, and later on, if you need some changes or adding new hardwares, you can add more, and you can basically export this map as images. So later on, for example, after a month, you can take a look some of the configurations or logical relationship maps 1 month, 2 months, even a year ago. So you know what actually changed in your entire network configuration. So talking about the exported nodes, actually I did this many times in the past. So I think the first time I did was December 29th last year. So let me take a look at what I saved there. I also did one this morning. So basically have a very simple network then let me see what I have for today. So I have a bigger network in this case, and let me see. So the dates when you create this configuration map, logical relationship map, and also the title of that image are exported to the image. So these are basically the asset view. In this new version of AssetWise Web, we also provide you much better reporting capabilities for you to create all the reports relative to assets. For example, I just randomly click some of the reports here. You have the list type of reports. You have a stack bar in this case. You have a, let me see, a bar, pie here. And let me see, what's this? Oh, this one is a list of assets with open tickets displayed. So this is a good enhancement comparing with previous Windows version. So basically, reporting part of this application is richer than Windows client. Then Jason also mentioned that we have a home page which provides multiple dashboard views. So basically, in my case, I created 4 dashboards, and you can add more if you want. And all the existing reports created in the report view are available here. So you can basically select, add contents, and add individual reports to this dashboard. So you can have a quick view of what you are interested in. You can also change the appearance of this dashboard. You can change the layout to 1 column. In my case, it's 2 columns. Also, 3 columns are available. As I said in the beginning, if you choose to use our Asset Link module, then we will have a software view. There are a huge number of software here. So basically, this is a list of all the software inventory discovered by FrontRange Discovery. So I'm just quickly show you all the discovered Word, Microsoft Word available in this network. So basically you have all kinds of versions here discovered. And if you are interested in actually which hardware installs this software, then you have a list of those hardware. And then we also provide some basic management for your compliance, software license compliance. So you can basically adding new records to show that you have you have purchased some of the Microsoft Word with a certain license key. So this will reflect. Let me probably just remove that one. This will reflect into this. If you take a look at here, so basically there are 30 copies of Microsoft Word version 11 discovered in the network by FrontRange Discovery. Total 30 detected. But in the past, you have only purchased 9 versions. So basically, you need to buy more. This is the compliance status shown for this piece of software. And there are other tabs on the top. Operation view, basically, if you purchased our AssetWise Enterprise Edition, you have the capability to configure workflow-like operations or transactions. You can operate on asset. So if you need more information, we can definitely provide introduction of those, but that requires Enterprise Edition for AssetWise. Also, you have a preference section that allows user to configure what columns they want to display on asset list view, for example, and how many number of records they want to display on the list view in that in this case. So next thing I want to show you is a new feature we implemented for ServiceWise team side. It's a remote control. And so currently I'm logged in as a team member, and I'm looking at some of the outstanding tickets here. For example, this one. So from here, you can, before I go further, I want to just mention that this is, for example, one of the new usability improvements. You have the capability to show the detailed information of your employee or customer contact here, but normally this is collapsed, and you can choose to expand by default. So in this case, I'm looking at that the description that this user mentioned that the PM server has some issues. So let me take a look at this particular computer here. Okay, so this PM server, let me take a look at some of the detailed information. So ServiceWise also gives you a very basic view of all the asset information here. You can see that the IP address and MAC address, some of the information. But the thing I want to show you is this remote control. So before, actually on this computer, I installed one of the VNC distributions. So I'm able to remote control it just by clicking that button. Let me do this. Okay. Put the password in. All right. So you're able to take a look at what is happening on this computer, and after you're done, you can click disconnect and close. So basically, this will be the remote control capability. Then basically, this action, remote control action, will be recorded as an event. Then you can put some notes in it and So you are able to track the history of what you have been doing on this computer. So that's probably all I want to show for AssetWise Web and a remote control in this case. And I will transfer the control back to Jason.
All right, thanks, Yushin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say, all right, so I just want to cover a few more slides before we open it up to questions. Specifically, there was one slide that I meant to cover previously, which was just to talk about the functions moved to the web and admin. Incident templates, form-wise configuration, which was previously only in the Windows client, is now available in the web client. And we've also added the bulk import and bulk export to the admin client. You can learn more about what's in ServiceWise and CustomerWise 9.0 at help.techexcel.com. There's a release note there. It's got lots of screenshots and all the new features that are included in the release. I briefly want to cover what's coming up in the next two versions of ServiceWise that's coming out this year. In next quarter, in 9.1, we have ServiceWise SaaS, which is coming out. We also have My ServiceWise for iPad and Android tablets. So this will allow you to actually update incidents that you may have, as well as view knowledge items from an iPad or Android application. We also have ServiceWise support for DevSuite multi-site and the cloud community integration. So if you've looked at the community tab of our website, that'll give you a sense for what's included in the community application. In 9.2, which is at the end of the year, we'll have multi-site for ServiceWise. And multi-site basically allows you to, for a single project, to set up two databases so that that project can actually be replicated on a local database for remote users. So if you happen to have a team in Europe and in the US, you could have two servers that would essentially have the same project on them. It also has a lot of functionality related to conflict resolution, and it also, because it's only syncing the delta between one site to the other, it actually significantly improves performance even over what users may see now with the web client in those locations. We'll also have a web-based admin console, so in addition, that'll be a new offering. We'll also support B2B and B2C based projects within one project, multiple workflows, one-page presentation for incidents, and then also a network monitoring tools integration. So those are just a couple of the releases that are coming up later this year. And with that, now we can take a look at some of the questions that have been submitted. So Yushin, let's see. One of the things that you did mention about the usability improvements is the ability to use a right mouse click, I think. And there was a question about being able to delete issues using right mouse click. Is that something that you might be able to show some of the menu options that are available for right mouse click now for the web?
Yes. So let me see here.
I'm going to make you presenter.
Am I the presenter right now?
Now you are.
Okay. Okay, so this is a incident list view. So we have basically one part of the usability improvements is to create a lot of pop-up menus. For example, in this case, it's new incident, new events, and delete incident and forward incidents are available here. And we also have all kinds of pop-up menus there. Let me see. And we have this show detail. So basically it gives you detailed information directly by clicking that button. So these pop-up menus are also available in other views. So I think one other usability improvement is this pop-up dialogues. So basically now if I have opened events for this particular incident, you can click. It will gives you event detail directly in the pop-up dialog. So these are some of the usability enhancements There are other things like employee, for example, employee search. You can do a quick search here by typing. For example, let me see if Anna. Yeah, Anna hardware is available. So these are some of the usability improvements, and yeah, that's it. And
a few more questions. There's a couple questions related to KnowledgeWise. Specifically, Sean wants to know if there is a version field telling you which version of a knowledge item there are, and also who may have created or edited it.
Yeah, so I probably go through this too quickly, and you can see this version 1. Basically, there's no content in here. Then created by Terry Johnson, which is the team member I logged in as. Then the second version, let me see here. We already have something. The section I used Smart Paste to paste into. So this version displayed on the right has whatever changed. Then if you have version 3, then you definitely have something else displayed here. Okay.
Okay. Also, as it relates to KnowledgeWise, there was a question about how the wiki view actually works. So perhaps you could briefly discuss how an item, you have to enter it separately. Do my existing tickets become wiki items? How does all that work?
So normally, let me do this. Okay. When you, for example, this information, when you do the editing, I said that you can, for example, home. Okay, so maybe let me just put here summary or something. Home. Okay, so on the left there's a drop down. Basically, you can specify that this section is called summary. And let me add some new things here. Maybe a title or something. So I can assign the title as the second level. Let me click OK. So you basically have a bigger section. If I take a look at the wiki view here, you have a bigger section, a larger section called summary, and you have a subsection called title is 1.1. So basically we have, if I remember correctly, 6 levels of section title headers. Then you can basically, when you're editing the content of this particular knowledge item, you basically assign labels into those sections. Then you can edit those sections individually. I hope I answered your question. Okay.
Thanks, Yuxing. There's a lot of questions. Let's hit up a couple questions about the asset management piece.
Okay.
Using AssetWise, can users import assets via a spreadsheet or CSV file instead of using the discovery tools?
Yes. This is if you are a current AssetWise Windows client user, you know that you are able to import new assets. For example, this behaves exactly like the Windows client. You basically provide a plain text or CSV type of documents. Then this is a wizard-like import process and gives you the capability to map whatever available in the spreadsheet into asset fields. Then you're able to import, bulk import assets into AssetWise. Okay.
Okay, great. There's a couple questions that I can answer really quick. One is the admin client web-based in 9.0? And the answer is no. It's still a Windows-based client for 9.0. Another question is, can we get a copy of the PowerPoint? Sure, no problem. As I mentioned at the beginning, this webinar is being recorded and will be present on our website. But then you could also just send us an email, and we can send you a copy of the PowerPoint also, so you have that too. Let's see. Let's get a couple of other questions here. Could you briefly explain the difference between the FrontRange Discovery in terms of what information is tracked and what's offered in OCS?
Okay. I think, let me take that question. Okay. I think both FrontRange Discovery and OCS, they have the capability to collect hardware and software information. And the FrontRange Discovery is a commercial tool. OCS is open source, so it's free. And in terms of other capabilities, I think OCS has other features such as patch management and those kind of information. So I think to answer your question, I think OCS feature-wise is a superset of FrontRange Discovery.
Okay, great. And as I did mention earlier, OCS doesn't have any nodes associated with it, so that would be one difference between those two applications. Mm-hmm. There's a question about the Windows client going forward. Our plan is to phase out the Windows client. We're going to continue to support the Windows client version of 8.6.x, or I should say 8.7.x, which is the current available version. So if you need to utilize the Windows client, we'll continue to support it for a set period of time, at least till the end of the year, certainly. But in general, when you upgrade to 9.0, we're looking at having a web-only experience. Let's get a couple more questions here. Okay. Are there any enhancements that are CustomerWise specific? So things like the remote control, can that be used in CustomerWise, or is that only in ServiceWise?
Remote control is currently for ServiceWise only, and there are several CustomerWise only features. If you follow the link in Jason's presentation file, you will find that there are some details about those CustomerWise only features, but remote control is for ServiceWise only.
Okay. AssetWise, does asset modeling include any modeling capabilities around physical location of assets, for example, building floor, etc.?
Yes. So normally we use location tracking. For asset, we do have location attributes for each asset. And we also tied this location with users. So basically, we manage usage location, asset location, and the employee all together in ServiceWise.
Okay. Yeah, a couple more questions about CustomerWise and AssetWise. As Yushing mentioned, there's a release note also for CustomerWise that you can take a look at. Another question about, sorry, delay here. What about adding videos to KnowledgeWise? Is it possible to add a video to a knowledge item?
I think we are currently have another project experimenting adding all kinds of flash-based video and multimedia type of content into knowledge items. As soon as that is mature enough, we will merge those features into KnowledgeWise. Currently, I think we can only add the images and formatting text.
Okay.
Jason, do you have something to add for this?
No, I don't actually this time. A couple more questions. Is this upgrade and are future upgrades included with annual maintenance? Yes. If you are on annual maintenance, you get this upgrade and every other upgrade that comes out for ServiceWise or CustomerWise. That's just part of what's included in our maintenance plan. So you get technical support, so via phone, email, or the web portal, and you get all major, minor, and patch upgrades that come out, as long as you have current maintenance. There's a question around email functionality and differences between what was available in the Windows client and the web client. Have we made any changes to the web client around email functionality?
I think we perform the same sending, replying, and resending emails functionalities on the web, the same as Windows client. There is certainly no change. We will, do all possible enhancements to enhance the email capabilities at the website. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a question about how much news of CustomerWise 9.0 we're going to cover. It's probably a good time to mention that CustomerWise and ServiceWise essentially share the same code line. So all of the UI enhancements, other than things that Yuxing mentioned, like the ability to use the remote control and stuff, is only available on ServiceWise. Everything else that he's shown today is in both CustomerWise and in ServiceWise. So they're the same code base. There's the same UI changes, usability enhancements, knowledge-wise integration, all that's there. There's some questions about upgrading from earlier versions to 9.0, and for any of those questions, just give support a call. From 8.2 to 9.0, for example, there may be some additional steps that may be involved in that upgrade, and the best bet for anything like that is to call support, and they'll take a look at it and let you know whether or not you can directly upgrade or whether you need to upgrade to an interim version or something like that. Is the KnowledgeWise you showed here integrated with the KnowledgeWise from DevSuite? They're essentially the same application, and the way they're integrated is going to be through sharing. That has actually not been implemented yet in 9.0, but they are going to be utilizing the same. It is essentially the same application. Can you show CustomerWise really quick? Yuxing, do you have a demo available of CustomerWise really quick?
Let me do this.
If you don't, that's okay. But
you can go ahead and take a look at other.
I'll let's find some.
Right.
Two. We're going to answer just one more question, I think. Let's see what we got. Oh, and after you do that, if we could just take a quick look at what the employee web portal looks like now with the UI enhancements, that would be great.
Oh, okay. So for this CustomerWise site, let me switch to customer support project. I probably don't have a lot of information, but from the look and feel, you can see this layout and color theme are pretty much the same as the incident ServiceWise. You have all the usability improvements, all the pop-ups, customer view. Yeah, it's these are several of the views. Then there was a second question is the employee web portal. So this I logged in as one of the ServiceWise end user. I have the home page. So this is actually, you probably see this in Jason's presentation file. A screenshot made from here. You have the incident list. You have submit new section, employee info, reports, and knowledge. Oh, I think I'm idle on knowledge for too long. Okay. Go back to this knowledge one more time. Okay, so as I said before, it's the same layout. Then you have this folder tree, and for example, the public folder I was showing you here. So everything displayed as a wiki format. So I think this is one of the knowledge items I created before.
Okay. Okay. Thanks so much, Yuxing, for the demos and answering the questions. If we did not get a chance to answer your questions, because there was a lot of questions, we'll answer them after the webinar, and we'll send them out after the webinar. So thanks again for attending the webinar today. Next, or actually I should say, next month, we will have the DevSuite 9.0 webinar that will also cover the multi-site functionality. You'll be able to see actually a demo of the multi-site functionality for DevSuite, along with some new features for DevSuite. So if you are a DevSuite user also, you may want to take a look at that webinar also. Thanks again for attending. This will be up on our website next week, and if we didn't answer your question, we'll send out an answer to you next week also. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.